Oh, you should have seen me, Oklahoma gang. Sun was shining, birds were singing, and I was just swaying back and forth to the music. It was beautiful. 17-0. That was the score. Ah, I was soaring. Soaring, family. Oh. But what do we do here at Chokelahoma? You know, a loss isn't good enough. It has to be a historic loss for us. And there we go. I tried to rewatch the game, but every time I get to that damn punt, I throw up in my mouth. And I can't. I hate that we have this tradition of blowing up in the playoffs. I mean, dude, I'm a Sooners fan and my Dallas Cowboys. What am I telling you? Playoffs are pain for me. I still love my Sooners, and I'm damn proud of these guys. One of the toughest schedules in all of football. We have a first-year new offensive coordinator that brought in his new quarterback that they've been playing together, but they're coming into the SEC, and it's for real in this conference. I'll tell you that. We got a ton of freshmen on our line that's getting banged up by the week. I mean, we just cannot stay healthy on the offensive line. I don't know what that's about. One of our tight ends is a former linebacker. Our quarterback gets surgery on his throwing hand thumb in the middle of the season. Unreal. I mean, it was just defense and a kicker the entire way that got us here. I mean, our running backs, used to be the house that Adrian Peterson built, and now we got these Tinkerbells. The wind blows them over. It's like, how the hell did we even get here? Only thing that's getting me worked up right now is all this hate coming at my king. Look at him. The beautiful John Mateer with the locks and the bandana and the sweat coming down, and those eyes make you feel like you're swimming in the ocean. And you guys are trying to ruin them. Herb Street and all these analysts talking about my Prince out here like they know. You don't know how we do it down here in Oklahoma. You don't tell us about quarterbacks. He's got to learn to set his feet and step up in the pocket. Fuck that. Roll out and sling it sidearm, I say. What do I tell you? We bring him down here. We get a little combination, and we get some Baker Mayfield, a little Mike Leach, and a little splash of that Jameis Winston, that 2019 vintage. I told you. And you mix it in the red dirt, and we rub it on him, and now what is he? He's a goddamn gunslinger is what he is. He's the bandana bandit, and he's coming to get you. What's his name? 2026 Heisman winner, John Mateer. That's what it's going to be. All these shit talkers. Don't let them ruin you, King. You're perfect the way you are. He could have just run for the first down. Why did he throw it? Because he's a goddamn man with that chin. Look at that. You can see the grit in him right there in the jawline. He got that dog in him. Everybody wants to lecture us on what quarterback should look like. Why don't you watch the NFL on Sunday? Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. How many more starters? Like 32 teams in the NFL, and we got OU quarterbacks everywhere. You don't tell us, we tell you. What am I telling you? Sling that motherfucker and pray to Jesus to deliver us from pick sixes. It's all we can do, brothers and sisters, and you see it got us even in this game. We play on faith and badassness, and yeah, we got highs and lows, but that's the best part. So handsome, what a stud, and I'll not have any bad talking my beautiful man. And I got to tell you, another thing we need to talk about, though, is salary caps, folks, because this NIL shit is getting ridiculous, to be honest. And I don't want this to turn into mercenary mode, which is what it is. I don't want every year. I'm not going to start getting excited for players if every year they're playing for another team. It's bad for the sport. It's horrible for the sport. This whole sport is based on fan revenue. And you know what's bad for fans? When their favorite players leave every year. That's really bad for fans. So you're going to want to unfuck this NIL shit real quick because it's really bad. And look, it should be fair for the players and they should be getting paid. I got no problem with paying the players. If it's up to me, they're getting most of the money. But it's got to have rules and regulations like the NFL so that it keeps the product protected. Because as it is right now, it's the wild, wild west and it sucks. You just wait, Oklahoma gang, next year for sure. We're going to do it. You're going to see these crystals up on that Heisman stage, holding that Heisman trophy and that national championship. We're going both of them next year. You can believe that. I have an idea for a game mechanic. You guys tell me what you think. I call this my Prodigy Skill concept. You start out here, level 1, you're just about to get rolling. All we got to do is assign our attribute and focus points. The first ability that you fill up with 5 focus points should get a random modifier attached to it to increase its leveling dramatically. Whatever happened to the prodigy, whatever happened to the kid from the time he was little was just a badass with the two-hander or one-hander, or an amazing shot, amazing with horses. Maybe you just, like Nebo over here, all your strength is up in the brain and you're just amazing at medicine or engineering. I mean, why not? And yeah, sure, sometimes you might just use it to level something that's a huge pain in the ass to level. Shipmaster's got to get buffed. Anyway, you could use it for that. But the point is, the first skill you level up gets a bonus applied to it, and it should proc. It should be a random 3 to 10 attachment, and then you should just get to do that, because it would be really fun to have some of these 250, 275 perks a lot earlier in the game. That's the idea anyway. I think it could sprinkle in a little replayability and a little fun. Tell me what you guys think. We're at a very awkward spot in Warsails now, because on the whole, I think Warsails is a very good DLC. I like the ship combat. For the most part, I like a lot of changes to the map. Feels a lot bigger and is obviously a lot more space to bring in more fun. But we do find ourselves, and this is very awkward. I can't underscore how awkward shit is now. And what's the most awkward about it is that it's a community created conundrum. But let's do a quick history so that we're all on the same page and we remember exactly how we got here. The Nords are announced along with the Warsails DLC. In the first blog on the Nords, Tailworlds talks about the new Mariner concept and explains that the Nord troops will be Mariners at the cost of being more lightly armored. I immediately shot over to Reddit and the Tailworld forums, which were just lathered in post after post, talking about how excited this community was for the Nords and their heavy infantry. I kid you not. You can go look. There's receipts everywhere. It was just a fascinating combination of fan excitement and a concerning lack of reading comprehension. I even took the time in one of my videos to point out, I highlighted it, just like I'm doing in this video, because it appeared to me that a lot of people hadn't read the fine print. So Warsails launches, and no ship in any video game ever made could sail the sea of tears that came pouring in. The number one complaint about the Nords when Warsails launched was that the faction that was said to be lightly armored was too lightly armored. And the reason is because it's an interesting idea, but it mechanically sucked. Also, there's something about getting XP in sea battles. You just don't get that much XP. I think it's due to the nature of how the units engage. It's really hard to level up in sea battles. You get way more XP and your troops level up way faster on land. So if you couple the horrific casualties plus the fact that you got to sail up north, it was pretty tedious. Within a few hours of launch, that Omega mostly negative Steam review bomb was building. Early access has been abused. A lot of these games use scummy practices or promises, and then they don't back them up. There's absolutely pure justification for a lot of these review bombs. I'm just saying, this is the phenomena, the cultural trend. A lot of consumers want to know, would they like to check, because we've all been screwed so much by all these scummy companies, that you're going to go look at what people say about it. And when you see mostly negative reviews, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm good, or I'll catch it on sale. That's good, and I love that Steam has that and that Steam protects that. But it's also true that it makes companies a little trigger happy, I'd say. People are pissed. Tailworlds freaks out, and they're like, all right, fine. We're just going to start buffing everything. And so from that point on, so from the launch on, the Nords have received steady buffs. I could take the time to really break it all down for you and compare and contrast, but I think the best example is one that I saw on Reddit, where a guy pointed out that the Ulfheden that I told you in my Nord guide was a kind of a liability, and you had to protect them and keep them in the shield wall, because this had only had 14 or 16 armor, and their body armor wasn't that great. But now, this wolf head helmet, 48 armor, which is insane when you considered a full metal visored helmet only has 46 for the Valandians. We are now at a point where the Nords are completely OP, the best armor, the best weapons, and absolutely no reduction in combat prowess on the ocean. But the heavily armored infantry units of other factions do get nerfed on the water. And if you end up using their mariner troops still keep all the crappy armor. So now the mariner troops for all the other factions are what the Nords originally were. They're lightly armored and made for fighting at sea. And this whole mariner thing's got to go. First off, the Nords don't need other factions to be worse on the water. If you're going to keep the mariner troops, which I suppose you will since you've already created the assets, it should just be about equipment. So the Legionnaire keeps his Pelham for fighting cavalry and stuff. And then you just come over here, same armor, okay, but he gets a stack of javelins. I don't know about everybody getting 2 stacks of everything. There just seems to be way too much throwing shit. I'm cool with like skirmisher units getting it. I guess if you want to make nautical units, everybody has 2 stacks now. I feel like we're tossing out everything to everybody, and I don't like it. And I'll be honest with you, just the whole mariner shit is just not fun. It's just not fun. My favorite playthroughs that I've had so far are the Nords and the Khazate. Because I'll tell you what, my Consgar kill shit just fine on the sea. And I don't have to mess with all of the bullshit with the bringing lightly armored troops to land battles and heavily armored troops that suck in sea battles. I don't have to mess with all that. It's not fun to bring lesser troops to battles. That's not a fun game mechanic. I don't care if it's historically accurate. And I'm not completely sure that if I took a bunch of Legionnaires and put them on a ship that all of a sudden they really suck now. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, especially in this type of ship combat. It's basically like really aggressive bumper boats. I mean, you just mourn for Prince Ragnvad and his Sturgians because the Nords are better than them in every way now. The Sturgians keep their heavy armor, but when it comes to killing, the Nord infantry just blows them out of the water. The shield breaker laughs at the line breaker. I mean, this guy could only dream of doing what those Nord units do. And then the Sturgian bowmen compared to the Sky God's Chosen, LOL. And what is their reward? A cavalry unit in the snow. Yeah, you spend half the game fighting in the snow. Let's give you the unit that gets nerfed the worst in the snow. Oh, and cherry on top, we're going to cut your lands in half with a river. There is absolutely nothing special about Sturgia now. I mean, they feel just out of sorts. I feel like every game now, Sturgia just needs to be conquered just to put them out of their misery. And you can see that's exactly what the devs were thinking when they started making Warsails. We already have a heavily armored northern faction. Let's make the Nords the lightly armored raider faction, right? That'll be that way that'll be unique to them. And I was very excited about that. And when I bought the DLC, I thought that's what I was given. But the community erupted on Tail Worlds, and they caved to that probably in their best interest to do so. I think it was probably wise to do it. But now the community got exactly what they want, and now we're in this awkward situation in Warsails. The Nords are terminators, the Sturgians suck, the Mariner concept doesn't work really at all, except to make the Nords even more OP. And what makes it so awkward is this is exactly what the community wanted. Now, it's not what I want, but the community wanted the OP Nords from Warband. And now you have them. And they're so OP, they're not even fun. I mean, I could do a Nord playthrough, but you win. Just pull up the Nord starting screen and know you've already won. Your troops are more armored, they have better equipment, and you throw on the player buffs and all the skills on top of them, and they are unstoppable. But they don't have any cavalry. Not a problem at all, especially given the new nature of the map and the snow and the valleys and the ocean. You're fine. Trust me. It's not a problem at all. People always say, why do you care? Why do you always give people a hard time about Bannerlord difficulty? People should be able to do whatever they want. It's a single player game. Yeah, that's true. But the feedback isn't single player though, is it? So people come in and they put on quarter player damage and they go get all their mods where they get health back on hit and they unlock every talent with every perk and they get more talents and more perks. It's unbelievable. I mean, people just turn this game into Dynasty Warriors, and that's fine until we get to the feedback. And then a new DLC drops. Their little magical wonderland full of mods don't work anymore. They come start playing real Bannerlord that we play. They start getting cracked because their reading comprehension sucks. And now they're on the Steam forums hitting up mostly negative reviews to the tune of the point where the devs feel threatened and that they need to respond. And now, instead of getting what I wanted, I have to bend to the community's will. And I get what? OP Sturgians? Because this is what you got. And if all of that's not kind of sad enough, you know what else the biggest tragedy is? Sieges suck too. First off, this whole build the C engine, pause the game, put it in reserve, build another, pause the game, put it in reserve, then pull my trebs out and knock them down. You do the same shit every time. And why do the Khazaits have access to trebs? They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Like, the only people that should have access to trebs are like the Imperial faction leaders and Durther in the early game. And then as it levels up, maybe some more of the nobles. But honestly, this whole engineering skill tree needs to get overhauled. These should be like, you should start with a ram. That's what everybody should have, a ram. And then you should slowly unlock siege towers, maybe 2 siege towers, maybe armored siege towers. And then you get into ballistas and mangonels. And right here at the very end, that should be your trebuchet. If every siege is just going to be me building 4 trebuchets, bringing them out, blowing them up and in, I mean, they all play out the same. It's not fun. It's not dynamic. Now look at this situation. We got 1,900 on almost 1,000. The garrison is 515 and my party is elite. It's 157. Although to be fair, a lot of them are Mariner troops, which sucks. And I hate the Mariner shit. I wish the militia would get a little more buffed up, but I wish they had like leather armor, but it's fine, I guess. I get it. They're just civilians helping out. I have simulated this battle over 20 times over and over because I have this awesome RTS camera mod I love so much. But watch, every time, hold on. Pause it. Every time I have done this battle, so 20 times now, 273 engineering, fire pot catapults, 4 of them across the board. And not once in 20, this will be number 21, so we'll see. Maybe you guys are my lucky charm. Have I killed one of these siege engines? Not one time in 20. So let's see how we do here. All right, here they come. Do we get a siege engine down? So it looks like the 21st time is not the charm. Not only did they get to the walls untouched, but they all got to the walls untouched. This happens time and time and time again, even with a character who has 273 engineering. Let me give you another example of sieges sucking. We're over here at Kavolvik. Here's Big Dirthy coming with his boys to come take it back. We're going to join the defense first. We're going to set up the build. And what are we building? The same dumb shit we always build. He's going to build the same shit he always builds. And then he's going to come at me. 2-to-1 ratio. Coming in on level 3 walls with the level 3 siege, whatever. This should be heavily in my favor. And look how awesome this sea fortress is. I mean, the sieges in this game are fun. And I mean, there's still a lot of fun, but they just do not play out well. One thing I will point out too is if you notice the archers on the wall, the ones in the castle on the T3 walls always seem to lose. And part of the issue is because of the way that the enemy archers cluster up. They cluster up in groups of like 100. So they have a giant cluster of archers shooting directly at the 15 or 20 guys on that section of the wall where your archers are spread out down the whole thing. And so really the enemy consistently gets overwhelming fire at certain points. 21 times on that other siege and not one siege engine down, even with fire pots. Isn't that crazy? I mean, the fact that that can even be the case is sad because what's the point of fire pots then? I mean, we all know the point of fire pots is that they're amazing, but they're not amazing if the AI is too stupid to use them. And just look at right here at the beginning of the siege. They're storming the walls. They're moving up. And look, they've barely taken more casualties than I have. The javelins piercing shields is just incredible, isn't it? Probably the most powerful perk in the game. That it's not the final perk in javelins is kind of stupid. You can get it for just 5 points. Isn't that crazy? It's just so strong. 1 siege tower down. They're coming up ladders and rams only. Okay, so they're just going to brute force their way into the keep. I took more casualties in siege defense than they took attacking it. Does that make any sense at all? Look, they have an extra 800, 900 troops. I'm totally fine if they just wear me down. But shouldn't that be the case? Should it be the case that the attackers have less casualties than the defenders on level 3 walls? But it's consistently the case, and you'll find now that defending fiefs is a very risky endeavor compared to what it used to be. I'll tell you, as the Nords, don't ever defend a fief. You're wasting your guys. Fight the land battle, and or the best thing you can do is just siege other fiefs, because you think the Valandians are good at taking walls? Wait till you see what your Nords can do. They will destroy. And what's interesting is they perform worse in siege defense than they do siege offense. It's really wild right now. I don't really understand this vision of the Nords where they're just Sturgia, super Sturgia, but that's where we're at now. And that's obviously what some very vocal part of the community wants. They want super Sturgia. So that's what we got. So I'm not being critical of Tail Worlds, because I want to be honest. These changes to the Nords that they've made are exactly what people were calling for. It's just now that you've made them, it's kind of screwed up a lot of the stuff that came with this DLC. So now you have to address all of that on top of fixing up these sieges, fixing up the campaign AI, and all of that. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm hopeful that they're going to stick around to do it. They seem like they might. We'll see. Hopefully the DLC, they made enough money on it to entice them to sticking around this time and cleaning this thing up. But there's a lot of work to do. And the first thing now we got to do is make sense of all these mechanics you brought in that now they don't make sense anymore, because you listened and did what your community wanted. It's really just an awkward situation, but this is where we're at now. So we'll see what happens moving forward. As far as for content, my next one will be the Chokelahoma boat barn, where we go through all the boats and ships and shit. I'm going to break that down for you, along with the attachments and different types of shooters and shit you can put on your ships. And then I think I'm going to start dishing out some different playthroughs. I am also beginning to work on my updated Khazate faction guide with the sole intent of converting all of you to Khazate mains. I'm going to get you. You can't run from me, Chokelahoma gang. Don't you know? We'll talk again soon, family. Keep having fun. Chokelahoma out.